Good morning, students. Beta, last time we learned what active and passive voice mean and the basic rules for changing sentences from one to another. Now let's quickly recall. Active voice means when the subject does the action. Passive voice means when the subject receives the action. So the object of the active sentence becomes the subject in the passive sentence. Now let's move one step further. So beta, just knowing the rules is not enough. We need to apply them in different tenses because the verb form changes according to the tense. Without learning tense voice formation, we cannot use active passive correctly in real situations. So today we are going to learn how to form passive voice in each tense. We will see the pattern, common helping verbs, and examples for present, past, and future tense. By the end of this class, you will able to change any tense sentence from active to passive. So let's start first with the simple present tense. Beta, you know the formation of simple present tense. What is the formation? Subject plus first form of the verb plus SES plus object. And we know where we have to write S with the first form of the verb and where ES is writing within the first form of the verb. So here example is Rita writes a letter. Beta, I have already told you that we use S or ES with the third person in singular form only, and with all other personal pronouns we use just first form of the verb. Now here Rita is the singular and it is third person in singular form, so we write here writes, and the sentence becomes Rita writes a story. And in passive form, now beta, what is going to be added in the passive form? I have already told you the formations of passive form, that we will just write subject here. Object of the active voice becomes the subject, like a story. And then we use be form. It is already told that we use be form in the passive voice. And because it is a present tense, so we use is, am, are as a be form here. And I have already said that we always use third form of the verb in the passive voice, and then by, then object, means the subject of the active voice becomes here the object in the passive voice. So the sentence becomes a story is written by Rita. Now come to the present continuous tense. What is the formation of present continuous tense, beta? The formation is subject plus ismr plus first form of the verb plus ing plus object. And the example is Rita is writing a story. Beta, here ismr, we always use ismr in present continuous tense. So here I am writing is because the here subject is singular. So with the singular subject we always use is. Am we use with I, and with the plural subjects we use are. So here the example becomes Rita is writing a story. And the formation in passive voice is subject plus ismr plus being plus third form of the verb plus by plus object. Here ismr is already in the tense. So beta, what we do now? Here we always know that we use third form of the verb in the passive voice. So we will just add being here. Ing of the first form we use here as a being here. So the formation becomes subject plus ismr plus being plus verb, third form of the verb plus by plus object. And the example is a story, because here a story is the object in the active voice, so it becomes the subject in the passive voice. Now a story is being written by Rita, because Rita is subject here, so Rita will become object here. Now next tense is present perfect tense. The formation of present perfect tense in active voice is subject plus has have plus third form of the verb plus object. Now beta we know with the singular subjects we use has, and with I and plural subjects we use have. Now here I have taken an example, and here I have taken Rita as a subject and Rita is a singular subject. So I will write here has. Rita has written a story. Now in the passive form it becomes subject plus has have plus been plus third form of the verb plus by plus object. Now here we only add been in the formation. All other things will remain same as in the active voice and in the passive voice, means just add been after has or have. So it becomes a story has been written by Rita. Next tense is beta simple past tense. In active voice, the formation is subject plus second form of the verb plus object. Now beta only simple past tense is there where we use second form of the verb out of the 12 tenses. So here example is Rita wrote a story. So if there is second form of the verb, then you can easily identify that it is simple past tense. And how to use this in the passive form? We will write subject plus, because it denotes past tense, so we use here was, were, now. In the present tense we have used is or is, mr, but in the past tense we use was and were, and then third form of the verb by object. Now here example is a story, because here a story is the object. So now in the passive voice a story becomes the subject. A story was written by Rita. Next is past continuous tense. In active voice, the formation is subject plus was verb plus first form of the verb plus ing plus object. And the example is Rita was writing a story. In passive form, the formation is subject plus was verb. Again, we are adding being here because we have to use third form of the verb in the passive voice. So the ing form of the active voice will add here with the be. So here being plus third form of the verb plus by plus object. And the example is a story was being written by Rita. Next is past perfect tense. The formation of past perfect tense is subject plus had plus third form of the verb plus object. And the example is Rita had written a story. In the passive voice, we will just add been here with the had. So it becomes subject plus had been plus third form of the verb plus by and then object. Example is a story had been written by Rita. Next is simple future tense. In the active voice, the formation is subject plus will shall plus first form of the verb plus object. Now beta, with I and we use shall, and with all other subjects we use will. So here I have taken a name, so I will use will here. Example is Rita will write a story. And in the passive voice, it becomes subject plus will shall plus be plus third form of the verb plus by plus object. And the example is a story will be written by Rita. Now what we have added here? We have just added here be with the subject plus will shall. Only add be here in the passive form. Next is future continuous tense. Now beta, always remember that there is no passive form of the future continuous tense. Next is future perfect tense. In the active voice, it becomes subject plus will shall plus have plus third form of the verb plus object. Example is Rita will have written a story by evening. And in the passive voice, it becomes subject plus will shall plus have. Again, we add been here, and then third form of the verb by object. Example is, a story will have been written by Rita by evening. Now beta, there is no passive voice, means we cannot be expressed in the passive voice the following tenses. For example, present perfect continuous tense, past perfect continuous tense, future continuous tense, future perfect continuous tense, means we never make these tenses into the passive voice. Come to the interrogative sentences. Now what we have to do in the interrogative sentence? When we change an interrogative sentence into passive voice, we retain the interrogative form. Means we will use it in the passive form, in the interrogative form. Don't change it into the assertive form or in the negative form. If it is in the interrogative form, it will just remain as in the interrogative form in the passive voice. Here I have given some examples. Active voice. Is he disturbing you? Here helping verb comes first, so it shows that it is the interrogative sentence. Now how will change this interrogative form into the passive form? Like here, do you know what is the subject used here? Now here the subject is he and the object is you. Now I have already told that we have to retain it in the interrogative form. So now this object will become subject here, means you, and we know with you we always use are. So let's start with the are in the passive voice. Are you being, because it is in the continuous tense, so we are just being here. Are you being disturbed? It is the third form of the disturb, and then followed by, and here subject is he, so object will become him here. So the sentence is like this: are you being disturbed by him? Next example is, if it is WH word. For example, in the active voice, when did you bring the pet home? Now we know beta, it is WH word and here is did. So we always use did in the simple past tense. So if it shows past tense, then which helping verb we have to use here? Yes, we use was or verb as a helping verb. So start this with the interrogative form. Like if we are using when in the active voice, we will just use start when in the passive voice. When did was. Now replace did with the was, and here what is the subject? You, and the object is pet home. Now object will become subject here. When was the pet brought home by you? And always remember to put question mark at the end of the sentence. Thank you. You beta. Now beta, learn these formations and write in your notebooks. Yesterday I have given you some exercise for the homework. Have you done that one? Let us discuss this one also. I have given you the exercise to underline the verb and state whether it is in the active or passive voice. Now here the subject is father is reading a novel. Here the verb is reading and it is in active voice because it shows present continuous tense in active voice. Many women are participating in the marathon. Here are participating is used as a verb and it is again in the active voice. Next, children study in this room. Here the verb is study and it is in active voice. Sunidhi sings a song. Again it is verb and it is in active voice. Mansi paints the picture. Verb is paints and it is active voice. Next is the books are covered by him. Now beta, we know that we use by in the passive form. So here we have used helping verb, be form, and then third form of the verb. So it is easy for you to find out how we use it in the active or passive voice. So it is in passive voice. Next is a watch was given to me by her. It is in passive voice and the verb is was given. Next is the tiger killed a deer voice. Nitin made the paintings. Here the verb is made and it is in active voice. Next is a letter was being read by Juhi. Here was being and by is used here and the verb is was being and it is in the passive voice.